Nice to see everyone. My name is Jarrett. I am the Vice President of AI Growth at Wiley. That means I lead a team whose sole job is to engage with the AI ecosystem and figure out how to develop new pathways to reach, impact, and sustainable revenue for Wiley and our publishing partners. So last year I stood on this stage and I told everyone here that 57% of researchers were using AI in their daily work. That was a big number last year. Well, today that number is 84%. So 84% of researchers are using AI in their work. That means that AI is not coming, AI is not on the horizon, AI is not lapping at the shores. It means that the AI wave is already here, that our users, our customers, our researchers, our authors are using AI today, and that we need to be implementing strategies to serve them and to adapt and evolve in this moment. Not thinking about strategies, not planning strategies, but implementing strategies. So in today's talk, I'm going to share what we at Wiley have done and how what we've learned over the last 2 years implementing strategies, and how we're now able to start to productize that and share those products to help other publishers follow, succeed, make their own way in the AI ecosystem. So let's start with a touch of good news, which is this is a quote from OpenAI about the value of data in AI systems. The old analogy, garbage in, garbage out, is true. And the new analogy, I heard gold in, gold out, is also true. That these powerful AI systems are inherently reliant on powerful data. And that creates a huge opportunity for us as publishers to figure out what are the safe, ethical, thoughtful, scientifically appropriate, financially sustainable ways that powerful AI tools can reach powerful content and vice versa. So we think that's a long runway of opportunity for us that excites us. We think that there's lots of ways that we can find our way forward in that. That said, we've talked to a lot of publishers and we said, okay, we know this is not easy. We know that this AI opportunity set comes with risks, and we know what those fears are. The fear of disintermediation. Am I going to lose my path to market? Am I going to lose my relationship with customers? Am I going to lose traffic onto my website? Very, very real fears. Illegal scraping. The whole last panel was about what's happened. How are these models been built? How do we create safe licensing frameworks to do that? Because we know what's happened already with how a lot of this content was originally accumulated. The pressure of investment requirements. Who's going to build this stuff, right? Mark Zuckerberg is spending $1 billion for each of these AI developers. How are we going to figure out what kind of infrastructure, what kind of investments we should be making? How do we know if those are wise investments? And research integrity. Research integrity just gets harder. The easier it is to create content that sounds plausible, means it's that much harder to tell the difference between what's authentic and what just sounds plausible. So our approach has been one of recognizing that we need to lean into these challenges and we need to experiment. And fortunately, we've had the support of our leadership to say, we'll learn more by doing than by watching. And so let's experiment, let's try things, let's get in the game. So this is a bit of a timeline of our history. So we did our first AI licensing deal in January of 2024, so almost 2 years ago. This team that I lead, we created almost 18 months ago. Last year at Frankfurt Book Fair, we launched something called the Co-Innovation Program, partnering with AI startups and other companies to figure out how to co-create solutions that'll work for us and our partners. We launched a study of researchers. We asked them, how are you using AI? Where are you using your work? Where do you believe it's going to be successful? Where do you not want it to touch your human work? We launched that. We did that research last summer. We shared those results last February. We've also started to really build a network of partnerships. We partnered with the European Space Agency to build a new tool for researchers and the general public. I'll share a little bit more about that later. We've released guidelines for authors. When and how can and should authors use AI? When should they not? How should they disclose it? What obligations do we have for each other? Launched partnerships with Perplexity, Amazon Web Services, Anthropic. Tuesday, we announced a partnership with Mistral. So building a set of relationships and an ecosystem together. And one thing that's become very clear over this last year or so is that we are truly in a moment of paradigm shift. And the closest analogy that many of us have lived through is that print to digital shift from 25 years ago. And so that paradigm shift, if anyone heard my colleague Jay Flynn talking yesterday afternoon, he talked about how successful we were in the shift in print to digital. We have to remember that we've done some of this before, and we were pretty good at it. We succeeded in building a whole new ecosystem. And this is really the ecosystem we've continued to rely on and optimize for the last 20 years, which is on the top of this page. So imagine a researcher, right? She sits down at her desk. She's got a hypothesis. She wants to do some research on that, understand if that hypothesis is worth exploring. And so she is searching for content. And so she is going to some type of web search. It may be one of our websites. It may be Google or some other web search. She lands on a publisher website. If she has an entitlement, she gets that full text article in PDF or XML. Maybe she downloads 10, 20, 30, 40. She reads through those, spends a couple days, maybe a week or two, right? Decides if that hypothesis was worth exploring and if she should continue that work. It's a very familiar experience. But there's a whole new use case that's developing. She doesn't search for content anymore. She needs answers. She needs solutions, she needs insights, and she tells her AI agent to go do that for her. She gives that agent a task. She says, here's my hypothesis. Go figure out if it's a good one. That's a complicated task. That agent has to break that down into multiple steps, think about what sources could I use, think about, do I spin up a Python code base and write some code? The agents are going to work with increasing autonomy to go solve harder and harder tasks. And what happens is those agents, sometimes they'll search the web. We've all done that deep research. We should probably call it broad research because really it's just broadly searching websites. But that's one of the things it does. It can go do that. But increasingly, those agents are going to want to actually do deep research to talk to high quality authoritative content, and they're going to do that through an API, the language of how machines talk to each other. And they're going to say, I'm trying to solve this problem. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for, the 20 compounds that meet this criteria because I'm trying to test if this hypothesis is a good idea. Can you search your annals of content and find 20 mentions of this compound to see if that's relevant that might help me in my task that I've been given? So I don't want an article back. I want a chunk of content, an enriched content chunk. And so the paradigm we had of humans, web search, articles is being replaced or at least complemented by agents, APIs, enriched chunks. And we think that in the next 12 to 18 months, there'll be more content consumed through the new agentic channel than through the traditional human channel. So that's what we have to figure out how to work on together. So before we talk about how to work on that, I want to step back and talk a little bit around what we actually know what people are using, talk about our users and our customers. I mentioned this work we did on ExplanaAItions. Last year, we've updated that work. So August, September this year, we went out and talked to 2,400 researchers, and we asked them, how are they using AI today? So I'm going to preview some of those results. You can get access to a sneak peek, and next month we'll be releasing the full results. So a couple of things that were pretty insightful. One, I mentioned this first data point that the number of researchers that are using AI in their work has gone up from 57 to 84%. It's near ubiquitous. If you look specifically at are you using it in your research tasks or your publication tasks, it's gone from 45% to 62%. So less than half to almost 2/3. So these tools are being used. So, all right, we think there's explosive use of these tools. What tools are they using? This is interesting. Also interesting because it's jumping around a little bit. Interesting, it's small. Let me point this out. These are the tools that they actually say they're using. So what's interesting about this? Let's look at the top tools. ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Copilot from Microsoft, Gemini from Google, Claude from Anthropic, Perplexity. Those are all the general purpose AI tools that these companies are investing billions of dollars in features, functionality, capabilities. You've got to go down to 6% penetration, BioRender, Academic AI, Scopus AI, Elicit, SciSpace, single digits. So while use is exploding, they're actually using these general purpose tools. Okay, so they're using them. It must be working, right? Here's the really interesting information and learning. As this usage has exploded, confidence has decreased. So look at the left side of this page. So we identified 43 different use cases and asked, hey, which is better right now, AI or human? Last year, in 53% of those use cases, people thought that the AI was better. Well, we've been using it more, pressure testing a little bit more. Now it's down to 30%. So while we're using it, our confidence has gone down. And if you look at the right side, why has it gone down? We don't trust it. It's hallucinating. What is it trained on? I don't know what it's trained on. What citation is it coming up with? Is it ethical, right? 87% of researchers select one of those 4 reasons why they don't trust AI and aren't confident using it broadly. The challenge is it's relying on those AI, the model capabilities and the application layer, around that, but we want to ground that in real authoritative content. And we think this is a huge opportunity for us to connect our authoritative content, not in training, there's interesting things in training, but in real time. On the last panel, people were talking about RAG, retrieval augmented generation, where you have to subscribe to a real-time knowledge feed, and you have to pay an annual license to have access to that, because when you're doing real-time AI work, you need to be able to connect that data in. We think that's a really exciting opportunity. So there's 3 choices that we as publishers have. 1, we can do nothing. We can wait and see. This is all, it's happening. Who the heck knows what to invest in? We ought to wait. Things will emerge, and then we can make a wise choice. The hope there is that it's not too late, right? That when the confident choice emerges, that we won't have missed the opportunity. What's interesting, though, is the faster you experiment, the less right you need to be, right? So the less you're experimenting, the more you're doing nothing and waiting and seeing, the fewer bites of the apple that you have, and the more right you might only have one chance to get it right. But there's a choice. That's an option. Wait and see how this plays out. The second option is let's preserve the walled garden. We have a set of relationships. We have subscriptions. We have maybe pre-AI assets that we want to protect, and we want to build up that walled garden and say, okay, we got to keep this content real close, keep our eye on it, and things have to do it our way, on our terms. That's a potential strategy. A third strategy is to meet users where they are, right? So let's say, okay, they're already in these tools. They're already using them. They're using these broad general AI tools. How do we connect in with those? How do we recognize? Here's an analogy. These are three strategies: the ostrich, the gardener, and the surfer. Right? The ostrich has got their head in their sand and they're waiting. Hope by the time they pull their head up, things have been solved and figured out, and they can act. The gardener, right, is tending to the garden, building stronger walls. But what happens when a wave like AI comes? Well, the water may just go around the walled garden and just miss you altogether. Keep going, right past you on by. Might come over the walls, might flood your garden. But the third option is to surf the wave, is to recognize this wave and actually to ride that wave, adapt, and not try to swim upstream. So those are all 3 viable options. I think by now you probably recognize that the choice we've made is to try to be surfers, not gardeners or ostriches. So let me give you 2 examples of things that we've been doing in this space. So this is a partnership with the European Space Agency, their technology partner, Pi School, American Geophysical Union, and they said, we want to create a tool for the general public and for researchers to better understand Earth observation. There's so many questions we have. Which crop varietals should I plant in this part of the country, this part of the world, recognizing changes in climate and predicted other set of things. There's so much data that needs to go into that. So what we did is we have taken a fine-tuned model, an open weight model from Mistral. We fine-tuned that with a set of content, a set of books from Wiley, some journal titles from Wiley, AGU, and some other societies, Q&A questions from our courseware platform. And we fine-tuned this model to get really good at answering just this type of questions. And they now built that system. And then they still, even though the model's smarter, they still connect in real-time connection to that journal content, the scholarly content. So when somebody's doing searches, it is both using that fine-tuned model and referencing the high-quality authoritative text that it can cite. And so this is a really powerful tool. If you can imagine, ChatGPT just for Earth observation. And this is now being piloted by, there's 200 beta testers who are using it. It's running on my laptop. If anyone wants to see it afterwards, I can show you. So that's a very specific use case of how we can unlock better science, faster discovery by partnering high-quality data with high-quality, powerful AI tools. Here's a more broad example. This is a partnership with Claude Learning, where we have a connector in the Claude connector library next to Slack and Square and the other things that start with S, because we called it Scholar Gateway. So it connects scholarly content with a couple clicks. I've gone and I've linked it, and if as an individual, I'm part of an institution or a corporation who've upgraded to an AI subscription with us, and we just turned on their connector, I am now doing deep research directly in real time with academic content that is subscription paywall only. So they're using the Scholar Gateway search that's going out, creating a query. It's asking for chunks of content back. We're bringing back chunks of content that have been enriched with metadata to help that AI understand what it is, how to interpret it, where it lives in the scholarly record. It's bringing back a set of results. It's summarizing it. Each of those links now resolved through a DOI back to the original publisher website. And I can continue doing unlocking new research and doing a whole set of solutions just by connecting up the broad power of Claude with true deep research into high quality, authoritative, trusted content. That's trusted deep research, authoritative deep research. It's a level beyond when people say deep research. We're creating a whole new category of this deep, trusted, true deep research. And we think if we do that, we create value. The other thing my colleague Jay Flynn was talking about yesterday about the print to digital transition was what we focused on was unlock value, create value, and we'll figure out how to make this work. So we believe that if we have high quality content, connect up into these powerful tools, we get better AI responses. We actually build trust in users. Those users use those tools. They create new research. They create new content. And that drives a virtual flywheel where we create value for everyone. So we think this is the future that we're really excited about. So I mentioned that we've been working on this the last couple of years, and now we're figuring out how to actually turn that into services and products that we can help other publishers, independent publishers, be able to take advantage of the AI opportunity, but while preserving their autonomy and their independence. So there's two products, the Wiley AI Gateway, which is an infrastructure platform for content enrichment and distribution via APIs into AI tools. And the AI Knowledge Nexus, which is a joint licensing effort to work together as publishers to serve new markets in corporate R&D and AI developers and all these new markets that are opened up, all the new demand for content that we produce to sort of go and figure out how to work on that together. So these are two efforts that we've been working on the last year that we're pleased to be opening up and sharing more and inviting more people to join us. So the AI Gateway, there's a set of things you have to do to make our content ready to be absorbed in real time. That runtime experience of being able to use use quality academic content in real time in Claude or any of these other tools, it means you've had to take it through a data enrichment and transformation layer. You've had to break it down. You have to turn it into vectors. AI doesn't speak English. AI doesn't speak Mandarin. AI doesn't speak Arabic. AI speaks vectors. So that means we need to convert it into a language that AI understands. We need to think about authentication. Who has access to this? We need to think about who's going to meter this. How are we counting the number of queries? How do we put that behind an API? How do we use model context protocol, which many of you have probably heard of, which is the emerging standard for these tools to talk to each other. Just like when you're on a website and you type HTTP, that's hypertext protocol. That's how websites talk to each other. MCP is the language that AI agents will talk to knowledge sets like ours. And then, so we've now built all this infrastructure. We're excited to be partnering with SAGE, the American Society of Microbiology, and others, and saying, hey, you can have your own AI gateway now. That same experience that I showed with Wiley content flowing into Claude, any other publisher can now have that experience, manage their content, their customers, but take advantage of this infrastructure. The AI Knowledge Nexus, this is the federated partnership to take products and content and open up new markets together. There's a number of partners we're working with, Sage, Liverpool University Press, Rutgers, Cabby, others, and we've said, hey, none of us can serve this market that well alone. You need scale, you need technical expertise, you need legal expertise, you need business development. And there's two different opportunities. There's really the training opportunity, which is where are we going to make selective choices about content that we think is going to be used appropriately, license it for training, help create that market, help create IP protection and training. But the opportunity we get really excited about is this Nexus Domains area, which is about specialized knowledge feeds to all these new use cases that are opening up. What's the life sciences knowledge feed? And within that, what's the oncology knowledge feed? And what's the rheumatology knowledge feed? We're now bringing that out to meet with big R&D companies and pharmaceutical companies and materials companies. And they say, I love this. I love having high quality scholarly content at the end of an API that my real-time AI systems can query and access really high quality content. They've said, how soon can more publishers do this? So we're really excited about these new ways that we have to work together. This is a quote just from Sage, who's been a great partner in this and helping us figure it out together. But we think this is about collective learning. This is about the faster we learn, the faster we share what's working, the faster we take advantage of our complementary strengths, the more successful we'll be as an industry. Because we think there's this huge value that we have to connect in powerful AI tools with powerful content. And we want to build that bridge and figure out ways to do that together. So I will just remind everybody of the three choices. Everybody remember what they are? The ostrich, the gardener, and the surfer. I recommend getting a surfboard, some board shorts, sunscreen, and let's see if we do a little swimming, a little surfing together. We get really excited about that. There's several ways to learn more. These are QR codes you can use. You can learn more about the AI Gateway and the AI Knowledge Nexus. Those programs are both now open for other publishers to be part of that learning and implementation network. I mentioned the ExplanAItions survey. So the 2025 results, the preview is now available, and then next month we'll have the full report. I also mentioned a new effort we're put out called Chats, which is trying to have some substantive in-depth conversations and sharing about this. So Ian Mulvaney, I don't know if he's in the room, but from BMJ is our first guest, episode 1. A really great chance to take 20 minutes, 25 minutes and break down one or two of these issues and really understand it. There's so much superficial information. I like to say AI is like that movie from a couple years ago, Everything Everywhere All at Once. So let's pick one issue and let's really expand on it and take it to ground. So really excited to continue to learn together, share what we're learning, find opportunities to partner and work together. If anybody wants to, I'll be outside and there's a little space out front if anybody wants to chat more about this. But we invite people to work together, learn together, and do a little surfing. So thanks very much.